Hello,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad considering we're in another lockdown, so it's like we're like 2 weeks into a 6 week lockdown, so it's okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be worse, couldn't it? We've just got to try and stay positive, but it's hard for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, it is. I think everyone's a little bit better better adjusted to this one because obviously we've had plenty experience of the last one.
Yeah, it's familiar this time, isn't it? So it's not so bad, I think. I think last time the worst bit was not knowing, wasn't it? So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We're seasoned
Mhm.
isolators now, so it's all good.
Yeah.
So how are you? How have you been keeping?
Yeah, I've not been too bad to be fair. I've been a bit ill myself the last couple of weeks, but I'm back training again now, feeling good. So yeah, just back in the gym waiting for a date now.
Well, it's been an exciting couple of weeks for you.
Yeah, it's not been so bad yet. Probably not as good because I was ill in bed, having to like isolate. I didn't really have. It wasn't at COVID, but I was ill, so I was just staying in bed, resting and recovering.
Was this right after the fight?
This is I literally only just recovered a few days
No
ago.
way.
Yeah, yeah. So about 10 days after the fight, fell ill and then I had to stay in bed for a week or so.
So you haven't really been able to kind of celebrate with family or friends or
Yeah, I mean, I missed my birthday because of training camp, so obviously we had time to catch up with some cake and stuff. But apart from that, nothing really, no.
when was your birthday?
It was the end of September, 23rd of September, my birthday is.
Are you a Virgo?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I think you're a Virgo. Oh, you should know these things. It's very important information for a
No,
boxing
no,
interview.
no, I don't. I don't really pay too much attention into all that.
Well, listen, I mean, let's talk about Fight Camp because obviously it's our first time having you on. It's the first time that I'm getting to speak to you, so I'm delighted to have you on. But a lot of our viewers, especially when I announced that you were coming on tonight, they were like, "Oh, the guy from Fight Camp," you know. So let's talk about that experience because obviously 6-0, you've been a pro for just over a year, right?
Yeah,
So obviously being a pro, new to the game, but getting the opportunity to fight on Fight Camp must have been incredible.
yeah. It was like my Christmas had come early. It was really obviously to fight on TV so early on. It's obviously I've just been signed by Matchroom this year as well, but
Yeah.
to get my first fight with Matchroom on a slot on TV was something I never imagined and something that I was really lucky and blessed to be in the position to do that. And obviously, when it come, I was over the moon. Really, yeah, really excited I was.
Because obviously like you say, signing with Matchroom is like signing with any major promotion is the dream. And and there's so many professional fighters that are, 10-0, 15-0, or, you have sorry, 10 or 15 fights in and they can only dream of being on a platform like Matchroom. So for you to like the lead up to that, obviously the work has been put in behind the scenes, but when was it that you started to recognize that things were going right and the opportunity to sign with Matchroom probably was going to happen?
Well, I boxed on the undercard of John O'Carroll and Scott Quigg, and
Mm-hmm.
that as soon as that got announced, I remember I just went to the press conference as a fan, really. So the first one when they announced it, I was there, skipping uni as usual to go to the press conference, and I was in there, got a picture with Eddie and then got the news that I was on the show, and I was over the moon, really. And that's when I thought this is my chance now to impress and obviously impress the right people and hopefully get myself a deal with Matchroom, which I ended up doing from that. And initially, I didn't really believe it. To be honest, Jamie rang me and said, "I've got some good and bad news." I think the bad news was I was sparring or something, and the good news was that Eddie Hearn wants to sign you. And I was like, "No, I don't believe you, Jamie. You're having me on." And he was like, "No, I'm serious. Come mine tomorrow and I'll show you." I said, "No, I don't believe you." Didn't believe him. I was over the moon. It was just something that still like, even a few weeks after we went straight into lockdown then, and it was just like I was just everything was just on pause, and it was just hard to deal with really. But obviously, I'm lucky because I've got good family and good friends and stuff. So they kept me feet on the ground and kept me working hard. Yeah.
Like obviously, for your to be a boxer, to be a professional athlete, you have to believe that you're the best, and you have to believe that you're gonna, reach the pinnacle of the sport. But did you think it would happen that quickly?
No, that's definitely the most shocking thing for me. I always believed that like I'd box on TV and I'd be at that level. I always believed I was good enough because you have to, don't you? It's a
Hmm.
hard sport. But I never thought so early on, and I think that's sometimes when obviously at the time I was 20 years old, it was like I had to pinch myself, actually being signed to him and getting an opportunity like fight camp was unreal, really. Yeah.
Well, as well as obviously getting the opportunity to fight on Fight Camp, signed to Matchroom, let's talk about your relationship with Jamie Moore because, I mean, like, not only a legend in his own right as a fighter, but as a coach as well. So, how did that link up happen?
So I was an amateur at the time, and I was sparring with Carl Frampton, who was fighting Josh Warrington at the time. And then yeah, I remember doing the camp with him, sparring with him, and that was a great experience in itself. I'd learned so much just from that. And then at the end of it, I asked Jamie if he would be able to train me and stuff, and he said yeah. And it was that again. There was a similar moment to the signing to Matchroom because at the time, I think 2018, I think Jamie Moore was Trainer of the Year,
Mm.
and it was just like stuff like that doesn't happen to people like me usually. Like for training with a legend like Jamie, like you said, and I was just over the moon. And then it was similar to signing to Matchroom. I was that happy at the time, and I was just ecstatic really to get out and start fighting.
Why do you say that? Stuff like that doesn't happen to someone like you.
Yeah, because I'm from Oldham. It's not the best place. It's home. I love it, but it's not. It doesn't. When I'm blessed, really, I'm really blessed and lucky. Yeah.
Do you feel, or when you talk about coming from an area like that, or to have be in a position where not that stuff like that doesn't happen to you all the time, does that put an extra sort of incentive on you to achieve and to be great?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, when I started boxing, I think my first fight was, I think I was 70 kilos at the time, so light middleweight, and I was only 11. I must have been about 5'2", I think, at best, and about 5'2" wide as well. And never imagined any of this. And obviously, as the years progressed and as my amateur career progressed, my brother Assam, who was my amateur coach mainly and trained me quite a bit, and I started believing in myself. Got on the England squad, boxed for England, and that's when I started to believe it. But
Mhm.
at the start, it was impossible for me.
So first, let's go back to when you started. Was it your brother who dragged you into the gym, or was it, seeing boxing on TV? What was it for you? Why did you want to get started in the sport?
It was just a combination, really. I mean, I was always getting in trouble in school, getting picked on, so I'd always fight with the kids and end up in fights and get in trouble. And then one day my dad had enough, so he took us both to the gym. And at the time, my brother was only 5, 6 years older than me, so he
Mhm.
started boxing at the same time. He would have been about 13 or 14. He had a couple of fights, and then he started to go to university, and it got a bit too much for him, so he started training me instead. And it was a blessing in disguise, really. Yeah, and that was it, and it just naturally progressed, really. Yeah.
Would it have been your brother who recognized or pointed out that you could do something in the sport, or was it yourself? Were you telling everyone that you
No,
could go all the way?
well, like I said when I started, I was really overweight, really fat, but I could still
Were
fight.
you like really, really overweight?
Oh yeah, I'll send you some pictures or some videos. There's some on my Instagram. I can have a look, and you can have a laugh
Is
at
there?
it. I remember when I started boxing, or the first ever day I walked into the gym. I actually, I remember walking in, and they all laughed at me, saying, "Yeah," having a laugh with me and having the crack. And then I got to spar the first day I ever went to boxing, and I'd already fought. Like I said, I used to fight on the streets and stuff, and in school and whatever. So I remember putting over 3 kids, just knocking them down with like just because of my weight, really. And then everyone started to call me Tyson in the gym, and it was just like that's when I fell in love with it that day, really. And I was only 8 at the time, I think, and I really just started believing it. And it's crazy to say if you looked at me and if people from the outside were looking at me thinking he thinks he's going to be a professional boxer, I just tell people, and probably no one would have believed me at the time, but I believed it, and obviously my family helped me a lot, and yeah, I was lucky and blessed to have them around me. Yeah.
Because people that are not in boxing, they're not involved in combat sports, they it's hard to get them to understand how the sport can really help shape, positively affect young kids. They just can't see it because they've never been in a gym, and all they see is the Sky Sports or the BT Sports fights that are on. So being someone who's experienced that, and who's lived it, how would you what would you say to people who were apprehensive of putting their kids into a boxing gym?
See, the thing is, people think that naughty kids. So me in particular, I was always fighting outside in school, getting in trouble. So when my dad took me to the boxing gym, remember my uncles and the rest of the family was like, "Why are you taking him to a boxing gym? You're just going to teach him how to fight better." But but it doesn't. It really, it just what it did for me was just go there, do my fighting there, get all because as a young kid, you just want to get your energy out really and burn some of it up, and that's what boxing did for me at the start, and then it kept me off the streets really. Whereas some of my friends were going out, smoking, doing bad things, where I just stayed in the gym. I was always interested in just training, just running, boxing, and that's what I always did. And I've never really had time off either. So like when my friends would be out messing around and doing other things, I was always in the gym training. So yeah, it kept me on the straight and narrow. Yeah.
Do you feel like you've missed out on a certain part of your youth?
No, not at all, not at all. But that's just me. Some people might, some people won't. But looking back, like I said earlier on, I missed out my birthday, but I didn't. It didn't feel like I missed out because it felt even better when I got to celebrate it after the win. So it doesn't really matter to me. The sacrifices in boxing, they're massive, they are, but the rewards are just even bigger. So it's well worth it.
Do you find that your friends or your mates or people who are kind of in the same age group as you, that they don't understand what it's like to live a life where you have, a focus or a drive towards a particular career or something?
Yeah, I mean, at the start, I don't think they did. I think it was very hard for them to believe that I'd ever do anything or. But I had a couple of close friends that would follow me around and come to all my fights and support me, and they did. They did. I remember we've got a little gym in our garage, so we'd be out just doing things like out with my mates, and I'd say, "I'm going to go home and train now." A few of them would come and sit and watch me, and they'd keep me company, and it made it easier. Yeah, definitely. And a few of my friends box as well, so training alongside them, it helps as well. Yeah, but I'm lucky in that sense. My friends were really understanding and helped really. Yeah.
What about growing up? Who inspired you? Or where did you get inspiration?
My brother really. My brother was massive. He always, when obviously, as you know, boxing like any other sport, there's ups and downs all the time. And
Hmm.
there was times where I thought, I don't want to do this anymore. Can't be bothered. It's not worth it. But I'd always have not just my brother, but the rest of my family, my dad, my mum, all of them, and my friends. Again, I'm lucky and I'm blessed. I keep saying it, but I am. Not just with everything like you said earlier with the Matchroom deal and being trained by Jamie Moore, but I've got good family and friends as well that keep me inspired and keep me pushing and chasing my dreams. Yeah,
What is, because obviously for some, how old are you now? 20, 21,
21. Yeah,
21. For someone that's relatively still very young in comparison to, the age groups of other fighters that are in the sport or in boxing, what would you say has been the biggest lesson that you've learned to date?
well, that's a good question. Um, Again, hard work pays off.
Mm.
My amateur gym was a great amateur gym, Northside. On the t-shirts, it said hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, and I always believed in that because I wasn't the
Yes.
most talented. I was nowhere near. There were some kids in that gym that could do things that I can only just do now at 12, 13, and I'd look at them and they'd beat me up in sparring, and I'd have bad days, and I always thought in the back of my mind I'd look at the t-shirt and think that it's right, and I just kept working hard, slowly caught up, and I'm here now, and they're not really, most of them.
Yeah, it's like it's one of those things, isn't it, where, if you could just drill into every young person's mind that people aren't born great at something. So, okay, there's some people who are naturally gifted at certain things, but the majority of people, it's hard work and
Yeah.
it's discipline and dedication and commitment to whatever it is that they're doing, which is what makes them so great, right?
Yeah, I mean, even you said some people are naturally born. No one's naturally born a boxer and knows how to fight. They
Mhm.
put years and years of hard work into it. Everyone, no one's exempt from that rule. And I think the more you do, the more you put in, the more comes out for you. Yeah, definitely.
For you, how would you define greatness?
Um, you know, in the ring, obviously, it's a separate thing. But I'd say even out of the ring, being a good example to people. Like I say, if we're from an area where nothing really much happens around here. It's not the best. There's not many opportunities around here. But just to be a good example to people around here, people started saying that to me, and that makes me happier than I don't know, but that makes you really happy, and that sort of sense of achievement is what I
Mhm.
live for, really, and what I chase.
Your mindset and your sort of your view on the sport and how to be as a person is very similar to the gym that you're in and the kind of the sort of the team spirit, I suppose, that Jamie and Nigel and all those guys sort of carry. It's that sort of humble, work hard, be respectful, give back to the community. Um, was it important for you, or is it important to you to be in a gym where that is sort of echoed in what you do?
Yeah, yeah, of course, and I think my family is similar too. So it's just the way I've been brought up, really. And then that
Mhm.
gym, it's somewhere where I fit in and feels like home. It's like my second home. I'm there every day. So yeah, definitely that's a big part of it too. Yeah, of course.
So, like I assume you watched the fight at the weekend, the
Yeah,
card.
all of them. Yeah, all of them. Yeah.
And then obviously big news this weekend was obviously Deontay Wilder coming out of the absolute woods with his statements. It shocked everyone. But to come from, we'll say, the gym with Jamie and Nigel and all those guys, and to have that bond that you absolutely have. When you look at people like Deontay Wilder that's in at that level of the sport, to come out and he has his excuses for different things, but ultimately he's blaming people in his team. How does that sit with you? Or because for me, I look at that and I go, God, that's so sad. It's so sad
Yeah,
that he's
it's sad.
publicly talking about his
Mhm.
team.
Yeah, because realistically and truthfully, his coach pulled him out of the fight, threw the towel in. And genuinely, in my opinion, he saved him for another day, really, because he was probably what, seconds away from taking a devastating blow that could have been fatal. Could have ended his career even. And he was lucky, really, I thought, and he should be thanking that coach. I thought maybe at the time he'd be upset, which every fighter would be. But after a couple of days, couple of weeks, it's been months now, hasn't it? He should
Hmm.
really see, and he should have, like they say, woke up and realised what happened that night, and his coach saved him, in my opinion.
For yourself, when you look at, like, because obviously we're talking about Tyson Wilder, guys that are at the pinnacle of the sport, the elite of the elite end of boxing. When you look at your own career, is there anyone who, not potentially that you want to be like, but is there anyone whose career you would like to mirror or to be as successful as?
No, not really. Obviously, I've got my own dreams and aspirations in boxing, and my own career is about me, I think. And I don't, obviously, I train with like top high level guys, like
Mm.
Frampton and Jack Cattrall, Martin Murray, Rocky Field, and there's loads in the gym, and obviously they're good examples, good role models to be around. But I don't want to copy anyone. Obviously, my own career is my career, and I think that the way it's going at the moment, it's going really well, and I do obviously want to reach the top. I want to be a world champion, and that's always been my dream. Like I said, when I was that fat kid running around the streets down there, they won't believe me, but
I don't
slowly,
believe it.
slowly.
I'll have to see a picture.
Yeah, no, I'll send you one off my Instagram. Yeah, but definitely, I believe I will be, and I work very hard, and yeah, with hard work, like we said earlier, hard work beats talent. So that's what I believe. Yeah.
Is there a pressure? Because, for the last year or so now, you've kind of been labeled as the prospect, or, a lot of people have had their eyes on you, or, keeping tabs on who you fight next, what happens next. So is there a pressure?
Not so much really. I haven't really felt it. I'd say the only time I really felt any pressure was the last fight, so the rescheduled fight with Kane
Mm.
Baker, really, because of everything that happened before. It was sort of like that pressure was there, but I've never really felt any pressure so far in my pro career. I felt fairly comfortable, and like I said, it's something that I've always dreamed of and something that I've always pictured. So now that it's here, obviously I'm lucky and I'm blessed to be here, but it's something that I've already pictured and gone through so many times in mind as a young boy running around and dreaming about it. So no, really, I've not really felt any pressure. Yeah.
So, like, obviously, you mentioned the reschedule match with Kane. Obviously, you ended up winning the fight, but for the first one, the withdrawal due to not being well. How was that to be on a stage as big as that show and to be your big opportunity and know that all these eyes were going to be on you and to have to be pulled out of the fight? Obviously you knew that your team, everyone, was saying that it will be rescheduled. You're not dodging Kane, but then obviously you have social media, and I mean, social media is a great place, but it's also a really toxic place, and there's a lot of opinions and people who don't have arguably the right to have an opinion, have an opinion. So how was that for you to kind of know that people were saying that potentially you were ducking him, that you were just pulling out of the fight because you were scared? How did it sit with you?
Obviously, it could have got me down, and it could have really, affected me mentally if I let it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say the first couple of days were horrible. I was depressed really. I was in my
Yeah.
room. I didn't even watch the fight camp because I couldn't bring myself to watch it. I was gutted, devastated really, and obviously not just from the hard work of 5 or 6 weeks what I did. It was the hard work of years and years and years of dedication to get to the point where I'm finally fighting, get me a chance to box live on Sky. To
Mm-hmm.
get that taken away from me at the last minute, it was horrible. But then I started hearing obviously it'll be rescheduled, which I knew anyway, obviously. And I just thought it's time to shake myself off and get back in the gym. And once I did that, I feel like everything else just falls into place really in life for me anyway. Once I'm back in the gym, everything sort of just falls back into place and feels normal again. And again, my family and my friends, helped me massively, drag me out the dumps and say, stop being an idiot, you'll get your chance. And I did. And when I did, I took it with both hands.
At that time, Jamie done a lot of press to say that it was ultimately his decision, that he made the call originally. How is that? Because obviously, as fighters, you're going to want to fight, and there's always this debate about coaches and that their role is to really protect the fighters and to protect them against themselves. So I imagine it was a very tough decision for him. But can you remember what he said to you, or was there any kind of defining, quote or comment that he said, or of why he had to do that, and or something maybe that put your mind at ease?
Well, he always says, doesn't he? He said to me anyway on the way back, he said, I don't know why this has happened. I don't know what it's happening for, but he said, you'll look back in a few weeks' time and it'll all make sense. And I know that doesn't sound like a great quote or anything, but it makes sense what he said.
It
He
does.
said
It does.
he said that to me, and I thought about it, and obviously at the time I was just crying really on the way home. And he said that, and I remember just thinking about it and dwelling on it. And the next few days, obviously, he was ringing me every day and making sure I was all right. But obviously, they was down with Carl as well, so
Mm.
couldn't see him or anything. So it was hard. But like I say again, once we were back in the gym, I didn't really put any weight on. Stayed in good shape. Got back in the gym, and then it was fun from then on because the weight was done really, and then I could just really focus on my training, my sparring, and all the fun parts of training. So yeah, it was good.
So when the fight happened and you put on the performance that you did, and everyone knows your level and the potential that you have, but you seem to really impress a lot of people with that rescheduled bout, and then obviously to get the win. Even in your post-fight interviews, there was that complete humility where you could have very easily have been very loud and said a lot. You know, you could have said anything that you wanted to those people online or those trolls or the haters that were out there, when the first time got put off. But what was it, or what is it within yourself that kind of stops you or prevents you from being kind of one of those loud fighters?
To be honest with you, obviously, I genuinely I believed when we took the fight with Kane Baker. I knew I was going to win. I believe in myself. Obviously, you have to, like you said earlier, it's a hard game, and but I am lucky and blessed. Again, I've had good coaching throughout the last 10 years of my life, so I can box, and I know I kind of believe in my abilities. And I was just focused on getting the win. Really, I wasn't bothered. I didn't really focus on the bad comments or even the good comments because got see I get a lot of people saying bad things and good things. I try to just treat them as just comments because that's what they are at the end of the day.
Mm.
You're only as good as your performance, really, and that's what I was focused on, and I got the job done. And afterwards, I like to say I could have been disrespectful to Kane or to the people, but you know, as they were to me, but I didn't. It's not me, you know. It's not the way I've been brought up. And I think if I did do that, the first thing when I'd come home, my dad would probably give me a slap. He wouldn't even say well done.
And he'd be right to, he'd be right to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, listen, before I let you go, while we're talking, everyone has an opportunity to send in some questions. So I'm just going to go into the question box and see what everyone would like to ask you. I'm going to pick the best questions. Um, I think this might be your brother.
All right.
He's asked, who is Aqib's favorite brother from Assam?
Well, I've only got two to pick from, yeah, and because he's on watching, I'll have to say him, yeah.
So is Assam your brother who coached you, who brought you to the gym?
Yeah. So he was my amateur coach, and obviously still helps out now at the gym as well. Still trains me now. Still a massive part of the team, yeah.
Amazing. Okay, let's have a look and see. Aqib Hassan has asked, when do you think you'll fight for a British title?
Well, see, if this year had planned out the way it wanted to, and the way it should have done, sorry, the way I wanted it to, I'd say I was looking at maybe the end of next year or the year after, hopefully, you know. But obviously now everything's sort of been slowed down, so we'd have to. I'm not too sure anymore. Yeah.
Perfect. But you know, with everything that's happened this year, you are very lucky that you even got to go out, right?
Yeah, I've had two fights this year really because I boxed in
Yeah,
March and then again in October. So I'm blessed again, lucky.
you were
Thankfully,
spoiled.
yeah, spoiled. Some people haven't fought all year, yeah. So
Exactly, exactly. There's a message that just came in from Christy Collins, and he has said, Aqib is the best inspiration to all the boys in the gym from Christy. That's a
so
nice message, right?
Christy Collins is one of the hottest young talents at the moment. He's trained by my brother. And he was an amateur with me at our ex amateur club, Northside. My brother trains him, and he's won national titles. He's actually done a lot better than I did when I was his age. Yeah, so he's another top talent to watch out for. Yeah.
Amazing. We'll have to watch out for him. Okay, we'll take one more. There's a really good question in here from it's Shania Quinn, and she's asked, obviously, as a professional boxer, your entire life is surrounded by boxing, but what do you do to chill out
Well,
in your spare time?
uh, nothing really. I go for walks, play a bit, play some PlayStation. That's it really. I'm boring. I'm not too exciting for I'm not a typical young 21-year-old. I feel like I'm more 40 something in my brain.
That's not a bad thing either. It means you'll be very focused. Okay, we'll take one more question because it's a good one, and it's from Rakil Sharafat, and he has asked, Akib, what goes in your mind, or what goes on in your mind before a fight?
Whoa. See, right, I'll talk about the last one because it's the most recent one. I
Yeah.
remember just before the ring walk, Kane Baker was walking out to, I think, Elvis or something, and the man that was waiting, holding me back from Sky, saying you're on next 5 seconds or whatever. I was saying, what's this song? I was just taking the mic. I wasn't nervous at all. I was fine. And then as soon as he said, right, you're up now, 3, 2, 1, go. I walked up and the camera started flying around in my face, and I thought, wow. I'm not gonna, to say it in simple terms, I shit myself. and then I thought, I took a deep breath and thought, right, it's game time now. And then the nerves just disappeared. Then in the fight, once you're in the fight, I remember Jamie saying to me in the changing room that night, he said, if you were going to spar Kane Baker, would you be nervous at all? I said, no, not really, never, because, I spar like some of the best fighters in the world, really.
Yeah.
And I just thought about that, and then on the way to the ring, I was just thinking about that, and it just sort of played it down in my mind, and yeah, it helped put me at ease.
Have you ever been, maybe not so much in your professional career, but maybe in your amateur career, have you ever gone into the ring and been like totally away somewhere else, and then have to be like, okay, I need to get switched on here and about to fight?
I've never really been away. I've been scared. Like I'd say, that was the first time, my first fight on TV, and then my first ever amateur fight. Like I said, it was at 70 kilos, and I was only tiny. I was just round and fat, and the lad I was boxing was huge. He had muscles like a developed 20-year-old, and I remember thinking, Dad, pull me out of this. I don't want to fight. But then as soon as the bell went, I was fine then, and just had a big scrap with him. Yeah.
Is it weird watching yourself back on like Sky Sports for the first time?
It is, yeah. And again, it's like it's some one of them pinch yourself moments. Like it's hard to believe,
Yeah.
you know. And even a few of my friends that were watching, a few of my close friends, they drove down to Milton Keynes and watched it around near us. Obviously, they weren't allowed in. They said the same thing. They said it was really weird watching me on TV, but it's one of them things, you know. I think guess we'll have to get used to it.
Absolutely. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time. I really
No,
appreciate it.
it's been a pleasure.
Do we know when we were back out next?
Um, I don't think it'll be before the end of the year. I think hopefully January. I'm looking to be out. Yeah,
Good stuff. Hopefully there'll be some kind of crowd back then, or at
yeah.
least more media or just more people. It would
It'd
be
be
good,
nice,
right?
wouldn't it? It would be nice. Yeah.
Although I have to say, I am enjoying the kind of no crowds. It's new for everyone, you know?
Yeah, it was it was really weird. It was even quite more quiet than a spar usually, because usually when you're sparring, you have the music on, you have people in the back punching the bags and
Yeah.
everything. So it was even more quiet and tense than a spar really, and it was just really weird. But obviously, once you get going, I think you just focus on the job, and it was good really because I could just hear just Jamie's voice, and it was very good. Yeah,
Yeah, it's good. Well, whenever you're back out again, we look forward to hearing the news. And hopefully you'll have I know you're out twice this year, but a busier 2021, I hope.
yeah.
Um,
Hopefully, fingers
well,
crossed.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Talk to
Cheers.
you
And
soon.
also, I just want to say thank you for the t-shirt and the tape that you sent out as well.
You're no problem. You're more than welcome. You're more than
I know,
welcome.
I really appreciate it looking after me.
There's like so many people are like, "Hey, where's my t-shirt?" I'm like, we can't send them to everyone.
Oh
But yeah,
no,
you're totally welcome.
massive thank you. Yeah,
Just wear it every day. Don't ever take
yeah.
it off.
Be a bit sweaty, like, but you know.
Okay, thank you so
Right.
much.
Cheers. Thank you.
Talk to you soon, Akib.
Take
Bye.
care.